In this video, I'm going to explain how to replace a hard drive in a PS3 Slim. I'm going to use the hard drive that originally shipped with my PlayStation 4 in my PS3, as I've recently replaced that. If you're planning on doing this in one of the newer PS3s, or even the original style PS3, the process is the same except for physically swapping the drive. To do this process, you'll need the new hard drive, of course. It needs to be a 2.5-inch SATA drive. You'll also need a Phillips head screwdriver, a mini USB cable to connect your controller to your PS3, a USB flash drive or hard drive so we can perform a backup, and as well as a computer with an internet connection. The first thing I recommend doing is deleting any items from your PS3 that you no longer need. This will make the backup and restore process go by a lot faster. If you're trying to shrink down the amount of data that you need to back up so you can do this onto a smaller flash drive, for example, a great way to start is to delete any install data from your disk-based games. When next time you play the game, you can always just reinstall the data at that time. The next step is to prepare the USB drive that we'll be using for the backup process, so connect it to your computer. According to Sony's documentation on the web, the PS3 will only talk to external USB drives that are formatted with the FAT32 file system. Windows 10's built-in drive format tool won't format a USB drive larger than 32 gigabytes with the FAT32 file system. So I'm going to use a small donationware tool to do this. I'll post a link in the video description so you can easily download it. Once you've got the tool downloaded, you can start it. Pick your USB drive in the drop-down on the top left, make sure Quick Format is checked, and then press Start to begin the format. Once the format is complete, you can go ahead and close this tool. Next, you'll need to download the latest PS3 firmware. I did a web search for exactly that phrase, and the first link took me right to it. I'll post a link to the US English version of this website in the video's description. Use the download link on this page and save the firmware to someplace on your computer. On the USB drive that you're using for the backup, you'll need to create a folder called PS3 at the root, and inside that folder, create another folder called Update. Copy the firmware that you just downloaded into this folder. The drive we'll be using for the backup is prepared now. You can go ahead and eject it from your computer and connect it to your PS3. On the PS3, go to Settings, System Settings, and then scroll down to Backup Utility. Choose Backup and walk through the prompts to select the USB drive as the backup destination. This will take some time to complete. If you have a disk in the PS3's Blu-ray drive, now is a great time to eject it to make sure it doesn't get damaged while you work on the system. You can go ahead and turn off the PS3 now and disconnect the cables from it. Move the PS3 to a location where you can work on it. I placed the PS3 on a soft surface to make sure I don't scratch it while working on it. Keep in mind these next steps are for the PS3 Slim in particular. Flip the PS3 upside down. You'll notice that there's a small tab on the bottom. You can lift up this tab with a credit card or even a fingernail. This will reveal a single screw which you can undo with the Phillips head screwdriver. Take a look at the front of the PS3. You'll notice a panel here. You can slide this panel gently away from the center of the PS3 now that the screw has been removed. It should just kind of fall open. This will reveal the hard drive bracket. There's a small tab on this bracket you can lift up and use to pull the drive out of the PS3. With the hard drive bracket accessible, you'll notice 4 screws that you'll need to remove. After doing so, you can slide the hard drive out of the bracket. Now just place the new hard drive into the bracket and reverse all the steps you've just done. You can now place the PS3 back in its original location, connect all the cables to it, as well as the USB drive that we'll be using for the backup. Turn on the PS3 and it will detect that a new hard drive has been inserted. You'll need to restore the system firmware now. You can start this by holding down Select and Start together. This process will essentially factory reset your PS3. You'll need to go through the process of setting the date and time, creating a user, and picking your language. These aren't too important though, as you're going to restore the system from backup anyways. Once the PS3 reaches its crossbar menu, head over to Settings, System Settings, and then Backup Utility again. This time we're going to pick Restore. Select the USB drive as the backup source and begin the restore. This will take a little time. When the restore completes, you should find that your PS3 is in the state it was in before this process started, except that you'll have a little more storage space to work with. Thanks for sticking around to the end of the video. I hope this helped you out, and hey, if it did, consider hitting that like button. I'd really appreciate that. Take care, everybody.